I'm Perry Clouse, the Community Redevelopment Agency Manager for unincorporated Polk County. We have 4 CRAs within unincorporated Polk County, and they are the Hardin Parkway CRA, the Eloise CRA, the Northridge CRA, and Polk Commerce CRA. As Community Redevelopment Agency Manager, my job is really one of relationship building with property owners and developers within the community, and to effect economic development within that, or redevelopment within that community. And that means working with, again, property owners, developers to bring in jobs and create new ad valorem tax base revenues, but at the same time improving the overall quality of life for residents in that community. CRA funds are derived from ad valorem taxes, which are specifically used for development and redevelopment within that geographic area. My job is going out to help bring in new jobs, bring in new businesses, and to rehab or redevelop those particular areas and drive economic development and quality of life improvement. We have gotten the Board of County Commissioners to approve the purchase of 4 vacant lots and the donation of those lots to Habitat for Humanity. Another project we have going on in Eloise is working with the Arts Ensemble Foundation and Doors to Change.
EVAC is the Eloise Visual Arts and Life Skills Center, specifically designed for youth and young adults. And the idea with EVAC was to use the arts as a catalyst to teach life skills, to teach children how to change their direction by using their creative flow. Without our local CRA and the Eloise CRA and the board that is commissioned to oversee what goes on in Eloise, the starting of this program would have been uniquely more difficult. The CRA made it possible for us to navigate the county system in a way that we knew who to contact to make the next step possible. And by way of that, it expedites what our efforts are, but I think more importantly, it makes us better stewards of community efforts. The CRA makes it possible for me as a program developer to not have to focus so heavily on what we would consider the red tape of government process and focus heavily more on making things happen. And the CRA in Eloise was a vital part of making everything happen. Literally, our 5 major contacts that started this program came from connections on the CRA board.
Jane coming in with her arts ensemble crowd and really decided they were going to help make Eloise a better place. Had just been a breath of fresh air that maybe is unparalleled in that area in the last 30 years.
Once we realized that beautification was a band-aid to a greater need, I approached the CRA and asked for direction. Revitalization is not my field of expertise, not with regard to construction and rehabbing homes. And very quickly we put together a plan of action that would work. We found an investor that wanted to get involved with Doors to Change. And quite literally, a local business owner stepped up and said, I'll take care of all of the expenses of Doors to Change for 1 year while you build that program. And so I worked very closely with the CRA to develop what the best possible program would be. Without the direction of the CRA and the advice and the wisdom of the residents that were there, I don't think that we could have gotten to a place of instantly moving into a standalone nonprofit organization. Today we're working in our 2nd year as Doors to Change. Doors to Change is its own nonprofit organization. We have hired staff specifically for that purpose, to go in and bring homes to safety. And we still do the beautification project because as a part of our efforts and the efforts of the CRA, we want to revitalize this community. We want to make this the most beautiful community to live in.
Real change was the instigation of the repaving of the roads and putting the sewers in. And it sent a clear message to everybody in the community that things are going to get better. And it will take that away from being so much of a rental community to the people that actually want to own a home there because they've got the amenities of water and sewer that they need to have.
But first and foremost, we need to educate our residents, and we need to make sure that they're living in safe conditions. As you drive through the streets of Eloise, you'll see years of work done by the residents and the CRA. New streets, curbing, a beautiful center, all things that took place well before me. My job through the Doors to Change project and EVAC is to bring in new programming to elevate us to the next level. And without the CRA and the wisdom of the men and women that serve on that CRA, it would be much more difficult to navigate that system.
The CRA promoting the arts ensemble, and art is a medium of change and revitalization of that community, just builds a sense of value for the local residents that I don't think would be there if it wasn't for the CRA supporting that organization. And
one of the great examples of this dynamic partnership, county, nonprofit, and business, that took place with EVAC and Doors to Change was in the very first meeting that happened when Arts Ensemble approached the county and the CRA and said, we really need these 2 lots that you have that are right next door to the Eloise Resource Center on Snively Avenue. What we want to do is build a visual arts and life skills center there for teens and young adults. We went through the process with the help of the CRA to make that happen. That did happen.
I'm thinking to myself, well, I've got a big warehouse that needs to be painted. And I thought about, as we think about painting a big warehouse in a lower socioeconomic area, you pretty well know you're going to get graffiti on it. And that was always a challenge. So I said, well, Jane, you want to paint my building?
Immediately following that, a local business owner, Bill Rowe with Noble Juice, offered his building as a factory-sized canvas so that we could do a wall mural competition. And that's a great example of government and business working together with nonprofit to make something fabulous happen. Often I say that it takes a community to save a village, and that could not be more true, and it's ongoing. You know, as a nonprofit organization, and this is true for all nonprofits, we become the 3rd leg of business in a state agency, in that we have our private business owners, our government agents that make things fly for us, such as the CRA, and then nonprofits right in the middle of that, connecting all of those services together. But without the CRA and the support of the Board of County Commission, without the support of our local business owners, what we do in programming to make dynamic change happen cannot happen. It takes equally 50%, 50%, and us working like we can to make it all come together. Change happens in a community when government steps in and recognizes that change needs to happen. Thus the CRA, bringing homes to safety, making things well and good and prosperous in a community, and that's sort of how I see a CRA.
The EVAC project is fantastic. I mean, here you've got people from outside the community that are actually working as artists within the community, that are working with young people that live in the community that are working as artists, bringing in financial support from the community at large to build a charitable arts foundation, if you will, for all the kids to interact and in conjunction with the community center right next door. That's kind of magic stuff that takes a real visionary to pull off, and Jane Waters is special.
We had some recent involvement for a number of years. Polk Nursery Company, in fact, they were in business for something like 75 years. And when the owner decided that time had come for him to retire and place the property on the market.
Ken decided after 50+ years that he was tired. He wanted to spend some time with his bride. and stay at home. So he put the property on the market for sale in 11 different parcels, and it's a total of 260 acres. So the Knapp family had been looking for a place to grow blueberries. They wanted about 20 acres.
So to move the property in the most expeditious manner, we brought in Marty Higginbotham, the auctioneer from Lakeland, and worked with Marty to break the property into various parcels and began the process of creating exposure for the purposes of having an auction.
So we get to the auction. The auction terms are explained very thoroughly. Marty said, I'm here representing that gentleman in the back, which is the seller, and I'm going to do the best job that I can. So I'm going to do an auction where we sell it individually, and then I'm going to caucus for about 15 minutes, let everybody regroup, decide where they're at, and if you want to try to assemble more, you'll have the opportunity to basically knock your neighbor out of the box by overbidding what they had bid. So we went through the process. I think we were the 5th bidder, and we were the first bidder to take multiple parcels. And the first piece that we took consisted of between 80 and 90 acres. It was parcels 1, 2, and 3.
So they came to buy 20 acres. They did their homework. They, the impressive infrastructure here, the water wells, the soils, the drainage, the access, and the location right here at the interchange of Old Dixie Highway and Polk Parkway.
Now, with that said, let me say this. A gentleman named Clouse stood up at the meeting and explained the CRA. He explained what the county's involvement was, and really opened up some opportunities that we didn't know existed, even with some of the investigation work that we had done prior to the sale date.
The auctioneer asked me to get up and give a little talk about what the potential for the Polk Commerce Center CRA was. We're talking 3,000 acres, and specifically this 260 or so acres. So I got up and gave him a little talk and a quick overview. And as an economic developer, the vision that we have in economic development was a little bit more than 20 acres of blueberries. So we were looking far down the road, about 3,000 acres for a sustainable live, work, play, and shop community.
That had a huge impact on our caucus of the family group when we made the decision to go for the whole property. And we felt like if the county could do what they were saying they could do in the CRA, and our vision might match their vision, if we could get a purchase agreement that gave us a little bit of investigation time so that we could sit down with Perry and the CRA group, that this is something that we could do.
As a result of the auction, we were very glad to see some local folks in Auburndale who had a strong interest in the property, the Knapp family, and they have just done a magnificent job of removing the ornamental aspects of the property.
So our initial concentration was on the farming side. We knew we wanted to farm a crop that looked good both now, midterm, and out in the future. So we picked a superfood, which was blueberries. And we went through the well use transfer permits. And we were able to keep a significant, or almost all of the capacities that were formerly here for the nursery property. And we made a substantial investment in cleaning and clearing off the ornamental nursery operations and converting it over to new irrigation, new state-of-the-art watering techniques, from the emitters, drip polytubing, to weather stations, automatic start stops for multiple purposes, from cold protection to just ensuring that you weren't wasting water. And today, which is, you know, mid 2013, we have planted nearly 100 acres. By the end of this summer, we will have 100 acres in blueberries.
But now the blueberries farming has taken on a new facet, and that we recently had a grand opening for a ribbon cutting for a large packing house, which will have international exposure.
The next part of the vision, which would be our phase 2, would be the retail mixed use area, which is the southern part of the property. As I mentioned earlier, we're adjacent to the Polk Parkway. We have both the northeast and northwest corners on the interchange. And in our discussions with the CRA director for Polk County, and then subsequent meetings with the county, particularly the transportation department, we've seen a vision that we agree with from the southern part of our property all the way through our property, and then going north through the Lake Myrtle Sports Park, continuing north of the park and through the rest of the CRA up through Pace Road and ultimately to I-4, creating connectivity.
Continue imagining a minute with me about the interconnected yet diversified industries of research and development, agri-technologies, logistics and distribution, supply chain management, the sports industry cluster, businesses and life sciences, all working together to create a sustainable economic development life right here in this CRA. Now, when I talk about this CRA, we're talking about 3,000 acres. This 260 acres is just a small part, okay? But it is the initial catalyst to make things happen. Wait and see.
We're working on what the mixed-use plan would be. We believe that a mixed-use live, work, play, and stay concept might really work well in this area.
Imagine innovative companies and a Polytech University at your back door. Imagine going home with recreation and open space opportunities just down the street, shopping close by, spending more time with family versus time in traffic, commuting miles to and from work. That's the vision right here in this 3,000-acre Polk Commerce Center CRA. The Knapp family recognized that vision and the opportunities.
The way I see the CRA's vision, in my development experience, almost every development opportunity that I've had in my development past, we've had to create the dream. We've had to create the amenity package. We've had to create the infrastructure, the road networks, the entry features, all of the things that we've built for our development and design. In this case, if you look at the big picture, the county has made more than a significant investment in widening Berkeley Road. A couple of $100 million is my understanding that they've spent in that area. Lake Myrtle Sports Park has been built. Lake Myrtle Sports Park rivals sports parks in cities of the likes of Orlando, Tampa, Miami, and you look at communities all over our country, much larger than Auburndale and Polk County that do not have anything like Lake Myrtle Sports Park. That was all here. So I think we can build on that dream and that goal and put users, both retail, residential, in place that complement and work well with the sports park and the entire CRA. We've got an opportunity with the Polytechnic campus. I've visited the Raleigh-Durham area, the Research Triangle. I've visited Greenville, Spartanburg, those areas that have seen the vision with the Polytechnic campuses where they attract the best of the best of students, and working with STEM research programs. I think that's a great opportunity to bring in nationally or global companies that may want to locate in this region and play off of and utilize the fresh minds and education to build facilities that could touch all parts of the world. And we want to be ready for that. Auburndale has made it very clear that utilities are available. They're ready. We have water, we have sewer, we have all of the things needed, road networks, to make this become a reality. And with us being at the interchange, which is the interchange south of the Polytechnic campus, it just makes sense that these interchange areas will develop first. And we want to be prepared for that. We believe with the sports park, when you look at the activities that they're currently bringing in, like the Rustmat baseball tournament program, 315 plus college baseball teams, over 20,000 people converging on this area, the economic impact that that's creating for the county is wonderful.
So now, hopefully y'all have the vision that we're working toward. Well, I want to make sure everybody understands the Knapp family group did get the vision, and they're making it happen.
Ultimately, the benefits are going to be felt outside the CRA because of the investment that got made within that CRA that created the foundation for good quality growth. That, to me, is key, the importance of the CRA. We wouldn't have gotten here individually, and I don't think you would have gotten anybody to take a step without that assistance on the front end. Somebody had to go first and share in a vision, and I do believe that all these properties that lie in the surrounding area, at some point in time, as Charlie Gray said at one of the meetings that we had talking about the spine road through the property, he was very instrumental in helping organize and put together what is now known as the University of Central Florida. People thought he was crazy back in the 60s. He told the story about getting people to invest and put money together to build this little university out there on the east side of Orlando, and today I think it's the second largest enrollment in the nation. Well, at the time, if you didn't have the vision and you didn't buy into the concept, it wouldn't happen. But the people that did make that investment and they made it happen, the point that he made and the point that I'm trying to make is we don't know if it's a year, we don't know if it's 5 years, we don't know if it's 15 years. But ultimately, with a Polytechnic campus, with a sports park like we've got, and the roadway networks, it will happen. We're going to make it happen. Without the CRA funds, it could be indefinite.
I'm going to direct my comments primarily to the North Ridge CRA, which again, it starts at North Haines City, and we particularly have concentrated on the intersection of I-4 and 27. More and more, it seems that US 27 is becoming more like the main street of East Polk County. It's a very heavily traveled artery, and at the intersection with I-4 becomes even more of a significant part of the travel ability that we have in our county.
We spent over $55 million in the last few years just on new transportation infrastructure. Doesn't include the water and utilities and what have you. We're getting ready to spend another $28 million on additional transportation infrastructure in the area.
Of course, what we're focusing on in large measure is not only just automobiles and truck traffic, but also looking at other means of transportation, such as providing for additional bus rides into the job centers and Disney and the other attractions on I-4.
We have other residential development going on. We have a great need for new hotels and restaurants to support the tourism industry generated by Legoland and the proximity to the Disney attractions. We're literally 8-9 miles from the Disney attractions and about the same distance to Legoland from the epicenter of that CRA.
But we also are addressing such things as the landscaping, the visual impact that highways create. looking to improve the attractiveness of the area. I think we'll be seeing more of that, particularly at the I-4 and US 27 intersection.
One of the most exciting things that's happened, or getting ready to happen, is the Florida Department of Transportation has set aside about $1.5 million to landscape the interchange at US 27 and I-4. They have recognized that throughout Florida, tourism is a major industry that has to continue to attract tourists. And the gateway to this area, Northeast Polk County, is a critical area for the Florida Department of Transportation. So they're going to work to enhance and beautify this interchange and make it a true gateway to our area, which will help engender economic development and the curb appeal and attractiveness of the area.
We have plans not fully implemented yet, but to have an additional north-south roadways, part of which will be with the western leg of the Polk Parkway, which is designed to go and from Interstate 4 south along the ridge and all the way to Highway 60 east of Lake Wales.
One other major project by the Florida Department of Transportation is the widening of the US Highway 27 northbound from the I-4 interchange. And some of the enhancements that we're excited about are the sound barrier walls that will have engraved features on the sound wall. There'll be 3 different varieties. One's an orange slice, one's an orange, and one's an orange tree. So we're excited about those and the beautification that will result as a result of that highway widening. These things that are happening in the CRAs are not the result of just government spending public monies. These things that are happening are the result of private businesses and foundations and agencies working with Polk County and the CRAs to cause economic development to happen, to cause the improvement in quality of the lives for the citizens of Polk County. It takes a lot of work. It takes partnerships.